everyone, it's Karen with the Yes Please PaperCrafts, and this is my first video for Pinkfresh Fridays, and that's where a group of scrappy YouTubers is getting together for one Friday out of the month to post a video on their YouTube channel where they created a layout using only Pinkfresh Studio products. And I think this is going to be a lot of fun. And my friend 𝗬𝗵𝗶𝗀𝗃 was the one who put all this together, and we have a group of awesome ladies that are joining in, and I will have links to all of their videos in the description below. So if you want more inspiration and want to see more layouts using Pinkfresh Studio products, be sure to check them out. Okay, so I'm going to start off with some papers from the Noteworthy collection. I just love the colors in this collection, and my inspiration for this layout comes from a little picture that I have of my dog Bella. And I already had this picture matted with some white cardstock and also a lavender cardstock. And it was just in my pile of pictures, and so I pulled that out. And I thought it would go perfectly with these papers. So I had the idea to take this paper, which is just gorgeous, and cut out all of these little shapes. And so I spent quite a bit of time fussy cutting out the entire sheet of paper. I just love fussy cutting, so I was okay with doing that. And I had this idea where I would take these little oval shapes and some strips of paper in different widths, 1 inch, 2.5 inches, 3 inches, like just different widths of paper, and put those vertically on my background, and then scatter these little oval shapes all over those strips of paper. And that didn't turn out the way I thought it was going to, and it was super busy. So I really struggled with this layout, and I worked on it off and on for probably 3 or 4 days. And I spent hours trying to make it work, but it wasn't until I decided to abandon the idea that I was able to finally finish this layout. Okay, so I decided that I would take all of these strips of paper and distress the edges, and I'm using a tool from Stampin' Up. It's really easy to use. I don't think they sell that tool anymore, but there is one from Tonic Studios that is very similar. So I'll find a link to that one and put it in the description below if you're interested in getting one of these tools, but it's really awesome. Okay, so here's where I ran into my next problem because I wanted to use a large title. I came up with the idea of using the title Cutie Patootie, and I just thought the picture was cute, and that just popped into my head, so I was just going to go with that. And I'm going to spell the word Pawtooty Pawtooty. So that's going to be my title. So the problem is that I only have 2 alphas from Pinkfresh Studio, and I have this white alpha, and then I also had an alpha that had all different colors. And because my background is so busy, I couldn't figure out how to actually add my title onto the layout and make it stand out. And so I struggled a little bit with this as well, and I spent a lot of time trying to figure out a way to get my title onto the layout. So one idea that I had was to put this multicolor alpha onto some white cardstock, and I was planning to put it above or below the picture, but that didn't work out very well, and so I had another idea to put the title sideways on my layout on the left hand side. And so I'm going to go ahead and take it off of this white cardstock and try it out on the edge there. And I thought it looked a little plain, so I got out an ink spray. This is from 𝗬𝗽𝗀𝗃. It's a color shine in the color amethyst. And it looks like a very, very dark purple, but when it dries, it's a lavender. And so I thought that would be really pretty. And so I did go ahead and just splatter that around the edges on both sides. Okay, so here's where my next problem happened. I got a big blob of the 𝗬𝗽𝗀𝗃 color shine right at the edge of that paper strip at the bottom left hand corner, and you can see that the 𝗬𝗽𝗀𝗃 color shine just got sucked up by the edge of the paper because I had distressed all the edges of my paper. I guess it just decided that it needed to make a line there. So I did get another spot on the right hand side. So I'm just taking a piece of paper and I'm going to cover that up over there. And I actually like that so much better to have that lavender color at the edge. I'm also going to remove these 2 pieces and just flip it upside down so that that mark is there, and I can kind of use some embellishments to cover that up, and it's not right there on the edge of my paper. Okay, so here is where I start playing around with all of these oval shapes. I'm calling it an oval. I don't know if it's really truly an oval, but I'm not really sure what that shape is actually called. So we'll just call it an oval. But I did play around with this quite a bit. So I think one of the biggest challenges to using these little shapes was that a lot of them had quotes on them. And so it was hard to figure out a way to really get this to look good and not look really, really busy. And so, yeah, I really did struggle with this. And eventually, after spending a lot of time trying to figure out a way to arrange these onto my layout, I ended up taking a break and waiting till the next day. And then I took another look at it and I thought, well, just because I had the idea to create this layout and use these little oval shapes doesn't mean that I have to do it. And so I ended up using just a few of these shapes in each one of my clusters. And I would have to say this was a lesson learned for me because I need to just learn to let go. And if I have something that's not working out the way that I was planning it to, maybe I just need to come up with a different idea. And so that's what I ended up doing. And I really do love how this layout ended up turning out. So I think it's all good. So now that I have my background finished and my title is on the layout, I am trying to do some embellishing. And so I'm going to get out the ephemera from the Noteworthy collection. And as I was going through this, I found this really cute sofa and then also a little chair and also some florals. And I just decided to try those out on this layout. Now a lot of that is not going to stay. I was struggling a little bit with the clusters, and I decided in the end to try out just using some of these oval shapes and some of the florals. And then I also brought in a little bird and a rainbow. And then here I'm going to get one of the frames. This came from another collection. I think this was from Joyful Day. And I took most of the chipboard off the frame to make it a little bit thinner, and then I cut the frame and I put half of it up above the picture, and then the other half that was yellow that says date I put below the picture, and I am going to fill that in with the date when this picture was taken, but I'm going to have to figure out when exactly that was. Okay, so here's where my next challenge occurs. I wanted to add some more ink splatters because I just thought it needed some more. And I'm being very careful and I'm using the little tip to just touch down to the paper so that I can control where the ink splatters are going and make them look more like little dots. And so I did a really good job, and I didn't get it anywhere that I didn't want it to be. But the problem was that I didn't wait long enough for it to dry, and I just kept working on my layout. So I managed to smudge it in a few places, and so I'm going to have to try to figure out how to cover some of that up. But I also thought my layout looked a little off balance. Like there's a little big stripe of yellow on the right side. And so I decided that I would go ahead and add some more yellow to this layout. So I got some ribbon out of my stash. Now I did cheat a little bit because this is not Pinkfresh Studio ribbon, but I didn't have ribbon from Pinkfresh Studio. So I'm just going to go ahead and add this yellow ribbon. And then I'm also going to add a lavender ribbon, and I think because I like to do things in odd numbers, I decided to also add a light pink ribbon. And I just love the texture that they added to my layout. It's super pretty. And so yeah, sometimes when you make a mistake, it causes you to do something that makes your layout even better. Okay, so to get this stuck down onto my layout, I'm just going to take my ATG gun and put a strip of adhesive along the back of the ribbon, and then just go ahead and press that onto my layout. And it really does hold on to it really well. And then what I will do after I get all three of these pieces of ribbon added to the layout, I will turn the layout over, and then I will flip the edges up and then take some Scotch tape and just make sure that the edges are not going to come loose. Okay, so I also added a small strip of the yellow pattern paper to the left-hand side of my layout, and I thought that really brought the yellow into that part of the layout and gave it more balance. So I decided to add some mats behind my photo to help it to stand out a little bit more from the background. And I decided to use this bicycle paper and also this purple tone-on-tone paper. I thought about using the yellow paper, but I just thought that might be a little bit too much. And so in the end, I'm just going to use just the purple paper and then that bicycle paper. So even though the bicycle paper is a very busy paper, I'm going to use it behind the purple paper, and you're not going to see very much of it. So it's just going to give a little bit of whiteness around the edge of the picture, and I really did like how that turned out. So I thought I should add an additional layer behind the bicycle paper. So I tried this lavender paper. I also tried the yellow paper, and in the end I decided to use this paper that was supposed to be a mixed media background for this layout. And when I created that mixed media background, it went way wrong. I did put gesso on either side of the paper, thinking that I was only going to do the mixed media on the edges, but then I got a lot of water in the middle, and it warped the paper so badly that it was just beyond recovery. So I really thought that the color was soft and pretty, but I didn't think it gave enough separation between the bicycle paper and my background. So I just took a piece of plain white cardstock and used that instead. I also did use some of that paper later to back the frame because I was having some trouble with that frame above the picture because the background was showing through, and all of the embellishment that I was adding there at the top were just super busy, and so it was all competing with each other, and it ended up going ahead and just backing the frame with some of that paper from that mixed media background. Okay, so here's where I decided to eliminate the sofa and the chair, and went with this large floral there at the bottom of the layout. And I really did like that so much better. I am still trying to use those oval pieces and still trying to figure out how to put together that cluster above the picture. And I spent a long time moving stuff around, trying different pieces out, and just trying to figure out how to get this layout to look right. So I just didn't like the placement of my clusters, and the reason why I picked those places was because I was trying to cover up some of the splatters where I thought it didn't look good. So that's part of the thing with mixed media is that sometimes you take a chance that you're going to have places on your layout which you don't like, and so I ended up with a cluster at the bottom right corner and the bottom left corner, and then I had the cluster above the photo, and it just didn't really draw your eye into the middle of the photo. It also kind of distracted from the title. So it wasn't until I removed the cluster at the bottom left-hand corner that this layout really started to come together. I also took one of the oval shapes and tucked it onto the side of the picture on the left-hand side between the picture and the title, and I thought that that really drew attention to the title. So I wanted to add something else to that oval, and so I was looking through the ephemera pieces, and I tried out a few different things, and then I found this quote that says a simple story, and it was the perfect color, and I added it there, and I think it really draws your eye toward the title even more, and so I really love that. So the next thing that I'm going to work on is the cluster above the photo. And I tried a bunch of different florals. I have a little rainbow there, a little bird. I tried putting some of the oval shapes. And everything that I put there, it just looked really messy and cluttered, and just, it didn't look cohesive at all. And so I finally had the idea that I would fill in the frame and put a solid background behind that pink frame. And so I took some of the leftover mixed media background and I glued the frame onto that and cut around it. And that gave me a much more solid, larger piece to start my cluster. So when you're building your clusters, it's always good to start with a large piece of ephemera and use that as your foundation piece. And I thought that I had that with the frame, but because you could still see the busy background through the opening in the frame, it wasn't really working out as a really good foundation piece. But once I backed it with some paper, then this cluster came together so much better, and I was able to easily layer the smaller pieces on top of the frame and create a really pretty cluster on top of my photo. So I'm going to take some liquid adhesive and put it behind my picture because my picture was not staying put. And I think that was partly because I had so much layering going on under the picture with all of the ribbon and the strips of paper. So before I can change my mind and move anything else around on this layout, I'm just going to start gluing everything down using this liquid glue. And this is my favorite glue in my craft room right now, and it's from 𝗵𝗡𝗄. And so I'll put a link in the description below to where you can find that glue. It's available on the 𝗵𝗡𝗄 website, and it's also available on Amazon. Okay, so I'm just going through and putting in all of my ephemera pieces, and also using some glossy accents to glue down this lavender bow that I created out of some of the ribbon. So one of the other things that I wanted to use on my layout were these crystals from Pinkfresh Studio. These are the Essential Crystal Mix. It comes with 12 different colors, and they're diamond shaped, but they're flat backed. And they're iridescent. They're super pretty, and I just love them so much. So I decided to use 3 different colors. I'm going to use the yellow, the purple, and the pink. And I'm just going to scatter these all over my layout. And I just place them in different places, like on top of the flowers and in clusters of 3, or just wherever I think they look good. So with the large cluster at the top of the photo, I thought that the photo looked a little top heavy. And so I decided to bring your eye down a little bit, and I'm adding some word stickers underneath the photo. And I just really think that that looks really pretty. Now later I went back and added a 3rd sticker, and I did that off camera, but you'll see it in the close-ups and the final pictures at the very end. I did pop these up onto some foam tape because they weren't laying flat with the layers of paper and ribbon that were on the background. And so I thought that looked really pretty. I'm also going to add a few crystals there down at the bottom, just to bring some of that sparkle down into the bottom of the layout. So I'm using some glossy accents and a jewel picker, and I'm just picking up each one of these crystals and putting down some of the glossy accents and attaching all of those crystals to my layout. And I just love using that jewel picker. It makes it so easy to put on sequins and jewels and different small embellishments onto my layouts. Okay, so I'm just adding the last few jewels here at the bottom, and that is going to finish this layout. So I am super happy with the way this turned out, and here are some close-ups of the layout. So I hope y'all enjoyed this scrapbook process video, and if you did, please give this video a like, and if you would like to see more videos, please subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you as a subscriber. So I do have a short video clip of my 2 dogs, Bella and 𝗬𝗟𝗏, that I put at the end of the video. So if y'all like to see that, please stick around to the end. So that's all I have. Y'all take care. Hope you have an awesome day, and hope to see you next time. Bye now. What y'all girls doing, huh? What you doing, Miss Bella? You want a treat? You do? What about you, 𝗬𝗏𝗏? Do you want a treat? Where are you going? Would you like a treat? Bella's saying yes, yes. She wants one. God bless you, Missy. You sneezing? Hi, Miss 𝗬𝗏𝗏. What's doing? Where y'all going? Where'd you go? Okay. Y'all want a treat now? You do? What are you gonna do for that treat? Can you speak? I didn't give you the treat yet, Miss Bella. Can you say hi to the YouTube people? Can y'all say hi? Can you speak? No, you don't want to? You don't want to talk? Yeah, okay. You don't have to talk. Can you do it down? Miss Bella. Miss Bella, can you down? Well, I don't know. Maybe treats are not in your future. Well, I don't know. Maybe there's no treats. You think there should be treats? Well, I think you have to earn your treats. You have to. Yeah. Well, you can't be spoiled. Why not? Because that's not good. You gotta earn your treat. Miss Ben, you're like a sassy little teenager. You don't like to be called sassy. No sassy. Okay. Can you sit? Good job. Okay, you get a treat. Miss Volleyball, you gonna do something? Can you sit? Can you down? That's an up. Oh, there you go. That's a down. Okay, let me get y'all a treat. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna get it. All right, you ready for your treat now? Okay, leave it. Okay. There they go. All right, well, that's all we have. Y'all take care. Hope you have an awesome day, and we'll see you next time. Bye now.